Not gonna lie, kind of obsessed with the galvanized farm animals that Dollar Tree is now carrying. Boy, oh boy, do I have another DIY in store for you today using this. Boy, am I feeling the inspiration, and I think this is one you are absolutely gonna love. So I'm gonna quit my gabbing, let's jump into it, and let's do some Dollar Tree farmhouse DIYing on a budget. Yeah, cause why not? That's what we do here. Let's get to it. Who is today's KB Creations crafter of the day? You'll want to stick around to the end of the video to see if it's your creation that's being featured in today's video. Jumping on into this DIY, Dollar Tree has these wood pieces. These are the 18-inch ones. You're gonna need 5 of them. I'm always looking for a good excuse to use my saw, so that's what I use to cut my pieces up. The pieces that you're gonna need are 3 at 18 inches, 6 at 3 inches, and 2 at 8.5 inches. Now for those 3-inch pieces, if you wanna leave them square, you can. I took 3 of them and I tapered the top end there, just kind of giving it that picket fence look. Totally optional. On that bottom end there, I'm gonna add just a bit of wood glue. Wood glue is amazing, especially when you get it at Dollar Tree. This is a wood glue by Super Glue that you can find in the tool section, not the craft section. Once I've got the glue on all 3 of the ends, I'm gonna glue it to the bottom end of 3 of the 18-inch pieces because I needed these to be longer. Once I've got those pieces glued on to cover up that seam, well, that's what those 8.5-inch pieces are for. So I'm gonna take some glue, put it on this side here, and I'm gonna place it right over the seam of where those pieces meet, so you're none the wiser that they're really not as long as they look. Now on the other end of these 18-inch pieces, which is now the top, this is where I'm gonna place those 3 3-inch pieces that I tapered the top. Again, tapering the top is totally optional. I have seen plenty of fences that didn't have a tapered top, but because I have a saw, again, I like to use it, so I went ahead and did it. Once I got those glued on, I'm gonna go ahead and place that 8.5-inch piece over the seam, disguising it, hiding it. And this here is what you should be left with. The top here, look at how nice that looks. I love that picket fence look. And there at the bottom is just, yes, the square. We've got a fence. Ha! Easy peasy, using Dollar Tree wood. Now I'm gonna go in with some of the Minwax Early American Stain, my absolute favorite colored stain. And to this fence, well, it's gonna get a nice good coating of this. It is so rustic and brown and aged, you don't need to distress it. It's perfect. Minwax has a ton of different colors and shades of stain to choose from, so if this Early American isn't for you, I say find one that is. What is the downfall to using stain? It takes a minute to dry, so I do it at night. Gonna pop this in the garage to dry it overnight, and in the morning, we're gonna be good to go to apply some stenciling to this. I dug into that farmhouse stencil pack that I had in my stash. It is still available at Michael's. Stencils are a great alternative to vinyl, to the Cricut, and what's great about them is they're reusable. When I use my stencils, I like to apply them to whatever DIY I am using them for with some spray adhesive because it helps keep it in place and keeps the stencil from moving. You can do it using some blue painter's tape. I just find that the stencil lifts when I apply the paint using the dabbing motion. The color that I'm using for this market is none other than Waverly's Cashew. Yes, my favorite. On the top of the fence, I put Farmers. On the bottom, I put Market. Now you'll see that I had some bleedage. Yeah, bleedage is a word. It's in the Kelly Barlow vocabulary dictionary of mine. If you haven't heard of it, stay tuned. I found a acrylic paint in my stash that was very similar to the Early American Stain, and I'm just gonna go in with a thin paintbrush and kind of clean up some of those lines. And again, yeah, nobody's gonna be none the wiser. The Galvanized Farm Animals at Dollar Tree, they're everything. I love them. I wanted to keep them galvanized because I love that rustic farmhouse feel that the galvanized, I guess, texture gives to them. but I did feel like they needed some of my stitching just to kind of finish them off and frame them out. I'm using a Sharpie because I wanted to do it in black, and it's gonna move this along a lot quicker than using a paintbrush and some paint. So use a Sharpie when you can. In that stencil pack, it had some words like bacon, milk, and egg, which, it's perfect for this DIY. And so I thought it would be fun to add those to each of the farm animals. You do see me here using a Q-tip because I'm not really sure why. I think I may have run out of sponge dabbers, or it might have been just because it's a smaller stencil, and so I wanted to have more control of the paint, but nonetheless, it's gonna get the job done. Someone tell me, is this a chicken or a rooster? I know they're not the same, but whatever, potato, potato. If you've followed me for a while, you know that I don't like to, apply my pieces flat onto my DIYs. I like to elevate them, give them that dimensional feeling, because I feel like when you give a piece dimension, it adds personality and character to a DIY, and it really takes that piece to the next level. And so I like to do that using Dollar Tree's Jenga blocks. Sometimes I use beads, sometimes I use the cubes. I had these ancient Jenga blocks. Do you all remember these? These were the multicolor, tumbling tower blocks that Dollar Tree had years ago. And I never threw the brown ones away because I felt bad throwing them away. And so I use them for pieces like this. So to this fence, I am going to stack my pig, my cow, my rooster chicken on top of each other. And with that, I have made an adorable, fun farmhouse DIY using just about 100% Dollar Tree items. Let's go take a look at this. I love this piece. Do you love this piece as much as I do? It doesn't look like something we DIY'd. It looks like something we picked up at Hobby Lobby. I'm not done yet. I've got 3 more DIYs for you using these galvanized animals, farm animals from Dollar Tree. Diving on into this DIY, I'm gonna start off with one of each of these farmhouse animals. That would be the pig, the cow, and the rooster. On the back side, you see me putting some masking tape over those pesky holes, because if you try to fill those holes in with spackling, it isn't gonna stay because of the galvanized metal. So if you just put some tape on the back there, it's gonna disguise it when I go to paint it. Some of you might be saying, how is that so? There's an indentation. Well, there's a trick to painting the galvanized pieces from Dollar Tree, and well, that trick is using one of Dollar Tree's sponge dabbers. By using a sponge dabber, you're gonna get a thick, even coat on the first coat, and because it's gonna be textured, your coating of paint, it's going to fill in those holes, it's gonna disguise them, and nobody's gonna be none the wiser that they were there. For the pig and the cow, I'm going with some of Waverly's cashew for these farm animals, these rustic farmhouse farm animals. And to these farm animals, yep, I'm doing it. I'm gonna add some stitching, but I'm going the route of using a Sharpie marker because I wanted black stitching. I have a black Sharpie marker. It's gonna work, it's gonna get the job done quicker. You all have heard me say it so many times before. If stitching isn't for you, you can simply leave it off. You could distress these farm animals if you want, but trust me, you're gonna wanna add the stitching because it adds so much character and personality to this DIY. I cannot wait for you to see the outcome of this. And to the pig, I changed my mind. I'm not gonna go with black stitching. I'm gonna go with a rustic red that I mixed up using some of Waverly's crimson and a bit of that Hello Hobby brown. You've seen me do that before. I like to mute out my colors, darken them up, rustic them up, and that's what this red is. Because I don't have a rustic red Sharpie, well, I'm gonna have to go the paintbrush route. The rooster got a good coating using some of Waverly's ink, and the stitching on this sweet rooster is in the color of cashew, and that color also is by Waverly, one of my favorites. There is so much more to this DIY, so stick with me because you're gonna love it. you're gonna need 3 tag wall decor plaques. My word, could these holes be any bigger? My goodness. Well, thank goodness for some spackling, but because these holes are so big, I did fill them at night, gave them the night to dry. In the morning, they were good and ready to go, sanded it with a light sandpaper, and I'm gonna give these plaques a good coating, well, one plaque, a good coating of Waverly's Cashew. I want to give this plaque an aged, weathered, distressed look, and to do that, I'm going to use the dry brush stroke of just putting a minimal amount of paint on my brush and just kind of making these longer strokes. You're not looking for even coverage. If the lines look like they're a bit stark, that's okay, because that is what sandpaper is for. This is an easy way to give a piece a good weathered look. Along with doing it on the center of the plaque, I did go along the edges of the plaque, as you can see, and I ran the black paint along all the edges, again, just to add some black to it. It's easier than doing a base coat of black than a top coat of the cashew and sanding for days. If you do it the way I'm doing it here, there is minimal sanding and it really does cut down on the time, and you're gonna get the same effect. And to the second plaque, I went with that infamous red of mine that I make using some of Waverly's Crimson and a bit of Hello Hobby's dark brown. To the top, I did the dry brush stroke using Waverly's Cashew. And to this last plaque, I went with the notorious black but not white, going with the cashew colors because I feel like that screams farmhouse. I am showing you here just how easily you can add some color to the edges of the plaque using a sponge dabber and just running along those edges. This is one of those things that you don't want perfection. You want it to be uneven. So if it is, the more imperfect, the more perfect it's gonna be. To this plaque, I'm gonna be adding some wording, and I'm gonna go the route of using stencils. Now, these are stencils that I found in my stash when I was cleaning and purging my garage. I'm not sure how old these are, but you know what? They're gonna get the job done. I am seeing that there are some pieces in the letters that are missing, but I'm not gonna let that stop me from using them. The stencils themselves, I did spray them with a lightweight spray adhesive by Loctite. It's a repositionable spray adhesive. I feel like that's the best route to go when working with stencils because it really does prevent the stencil from lifting up when you're dabbing. If you really want to use a painter's tape, you can, but you will get the lift up of the stencil when you dab. When applying the paint to a stencil, using a sponge dabber is definitely the way to go, not a paintbrush. You use a paintbrush, 1, you're not going to get even coverage, 2, it's going to take more coats, and 3, you're going to get more bleedage. I do have pieces missing in my letters, those openings. I'm not too worried about it. I'm just gonna go in with my paintbrush and I'm gonna add it myself. It may look a bit stark, but once the paint is dry, I will go in with my sandpaper and sand over it again just to kind of age it and lighten it up a bit. As I was going through my stencils, I found this fun fresh one and I thought, self, there is just enough room here at the top above organic to put this signature font fresh. Yeah. To this plaque here, it's gonna say Country Milk. I wanted to show you by using painter's tape how you can apply the painter's tape and the outcome that you will get using the painter's tape. It is very doable. People used tape forever before there was spray adhesive. So you can very well just use painter's tape. But if you do have spray adhesive, I say use it because it's gonna be a lot easier. You can see here that I took a stick and I'm holding down some of the center of the letters that are actually going to lift as I dab. And so that is the downfall to using tape. Now, when putting the farm animals on each of these plaques, I didn't just want to set the farm animal itself right there on the plaque because I feel like that is boring. So taking some of these brown Jenga blocks that have been in my stash that I'm probably never going to use, these are perfect to adhere to the back of these farm animals, which then in turn is going to elevate it up off of the plaque, which is going to add dimension and personality to this DIY and is going to take it to a whole new level. Let's take a look at these pictures and look at how amazing these plaques look. Why would I do one of these DIYs when I could do 3 using each of these amazing farm animals? This is most definitely a DIY that I am keeping, and it is going up in my newly redecorated farmhouse kitchen because this is going to go perfectly in my kitchen. I did take and add some of Dollar Tree's decorative nautical rope to the top to finish it off and to act as a hanger as well. Who is today's KB Creations Crafter of the Day? It's going out to Teresa Avery Johnson, who is bringing to us her recreation of my DIY family birthday calendar. Teresa, I am absolutely loving your spin and twist as far as the birthday tags. I gotta tell ya, I think I'm gonna redo mine and copy yours because I love those chalkboard tags. Thank you, Teresa, so much for sharing your recreation with us today. This is such a rustic farmhouse piece. I am super excited to add this to my kitchen decor, and it was such a budget-friendly one at that. Quick, easy, and budget-friendly is the name of this DIY. I hope you all enjoyed today's farmhouse DIY using those galvanized animals, farm animals that you can get at Dollar Tree by Crafter Square right now. Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy crafting on a budget. Stay happy, stay safe, stay healthy, but most of all, stay positive, please, because I am. Bye for now, everybody.